Good morning and welcome to Morning Java. Brought to you as always by GetGo Cafe+Market, where as always, Dale, they've got great holiday specials. They've got fresh food, fresh drinks, all ready for you to go. And you can get curbside pickup right there at a GetGo. It's a great place to get some quick food. I got some tots the other day there, Dale.
Tots?
You got tots, baby. Tots. I love me some tots. Anyways, Dale, it's great to do a Java with you. It's been a while since you and I have been on a Java. But let's talk about these Steelers receivers and tight ends, because everyone's been panicking about them the past few weeks, and rightfully so. There's been plenty of drops. Deontay Johnson looked like he didn't, really change much in the start of the game. His first two, he dropped 2 in the first 2 drives. Eric Ebron still had a bad drop in this game. And people are wondering, why isn't Claypool being used more? And lots of questions as far as why the Steelers offense is the way it is right now. But from your eyes, you've been there, you've been seeing the field. What is the plan of attack moving forward have to be for the Steelers as far as usage wise, and who they depend upon and for what reasons in their receiving group?
Well, people wonder what's wrong with Chase Claypool, first of all. And it's a situation where, he's getting press coverage. The Steelers are getting press coverage across the board. And as a first-year rookie receiver, Chase Claypool, despite his size, is struggling to get off press coverage. And when you do that, it throws everything off. Especially if you're running deeper stuff. He's just not getting off the line of scrimmage well. Tre'Davious White did a good job on him the other day, and that's going to happen. That's why, to me, Juju doesn't get off press coverage well either. That's still not a strength of him. Deontay Johnson does. James Washington has gotten much better at that. As he's gotten more mature in the league and stronger and those kind of things. But their 2 best guys in those kind of situations are Eric Ebron and Deontay Johnson. The 2 guys who are dropping passes. So you want to know what's wrong with the Steelers offense. Their 2 best guys, their 2 biggest threats who give you the biggest matchup problem are the guys who've been dropping the football. So, I laid it out pretty well, I thought, in today's story. If you look at what's going on with Chase Claypool, they've targeted him deep 28 times this year, and they've connected on those just 7 times.
1 in 4.
That's 1 in 4, 24% of the time. That's not good enough. Yes, he's drawn a league best 8 pass interference penalties, and those count too. But it's just not enough bang for your buck when you're going deep that often to a guy. And the biggest problem to me is where they're throwing deep. If you start breaking down the numbers, when Ben Roethlisberger throws the ball to the deep left part of the field, he's 14 of 26. Which is where you want to be at. 14 of 26 for 413 yards and 1 touchdown. On passes to the deep middle, he's 5 of 14 for 164 yards. That's a ridiculously low number of throws down the middle of the field. But when he goes deep down the right sideline, he's 5 of 43 for 129 yards, 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. That makes you play one-handed.
Yeah.
Because if I'm a defensive coordinator and I guarantee you they have these numbers, I'm telling my defensive backs, hey, we're going to flood the left side of the field. That's where he's accurate at. He's making passes to that side of the field. We're going to force him to throw the ball to his right where he's not hitting passes. And so that's one of the problems right now with the Steelers defense or offense is that yes, it's predictable with the short passing game, but they're going to take away everything that you can do and give you what you can't. And that's what's happening for the Steelers. The other part of that equation is by, all these short passes, by him not consistently hitting the deep ball, when you take away that left side of the field, now you've got 10 guys at the line of scrimmage when the ball is snapped damn near every play.
Yep.
And that gums up the running game.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even have to worry. You've got all these guys up there. It doesn't matter what you have there. You've got 10. Essentially, somebody's going to be coming unblocked because the quarterback's not in the equation. So you're playing essentially 10 on 11 on 10 in those situations, and you're not going to be able to run the ball.
It certainly is a big problem that we've been noting for quite some time. just with they need to find ways to back defenses off, and just with how you see how they've played, it also contributes to how they can play that aggressive underneath coverage, because they know that, hey, like you said, we flood the deep left, we leave the deep right in single coverage, and then our guys can jump those underneath passing concepts, and the underneath hitches. And yeah, that's what led to that pick six when Ben threw it, tried to throw it to Juju at the end of the first half. So I do think those are all valid points. But maybe it is just a matter of this team needs Deontay Johnson and Eric Ebron to at least play well and not drop a lot of passes. And if that happens, then it opens up the opportunities for everyone else. Because Dale, back when Ben was lighting up the numbers, and again, lighting up wasn't 50 touchdowns, but he was putting up very efficient numbers.
Efficient, yeah.
And part of that efficiency was how well he spread the ball around every week. It was a new guy leading the team in receiving because those two guys were a big part of it. But when you take two guys out of that machine, it makes it harder for everyone else to keep it going.
Yeah, and the reason I say that Ebron is key in that as well is he's been targeted 12 times this year on deep passes, and he's caught 7 of them for 161 yards.
Wow, that's more than 50%.
When you're catching more than 50% of those, you're doing a good job. You're connecting on that. So they have to keep playing him. That's why he's in the game. I wouldn't ask him ever to block, but he's
ever.
He's a weapon, and you have to use him. You may not like his attitude. You might not like some of the things he does, but he adds something to this team that, quite frankly, Vance McDonald doesn't. And that's the downfield receiving ability. They need to figure that out. They need to do it here in these next few weeks, or it's going to be a short playoff stay.
Moving forward here, Dale, Joe Hayden is expected to be back this week out of concussion protocol. Now, granted, this is the Cincinnati Bengals without Joe Burrow, and this is a completely different situation as far as what the defense is facing this week. But I think it's very obvious that this team is a lot better. This defense can be a lot better and allow everyone else to kind of play their normal role when Joe Hayden is the number one cornerback on this team. You saw Steven Nelson that second half kind of get picked on a bit, and also with Cam Sutton needing to help on the outside whenever Justin Lane wasn't out there, which was a lot because he wasn't out there that much. You saw Nelson kind of being overextended. You saw Sutton not being able to be in his normal role, helping Mike Hilton over the middle. How big is it that Joe Hayden's back and that he has to be healthy for this team to get back into where it needs to be?
Well, quite frankly, I mean, they can't afford to have anybody else go down. They need to get Vince Williams back as well and playing because the defense is already stretched pretty thin. No matter how much depth they have at cornerback, you're asking guys to play more and more snaps. And, if you think about it, Cam Sutton over the last month has started in the slot. He started for Nelson a couple of weeks ago, and last week he started for Hayden. That's a lot to ask of a guy to bounce all over the place like that. And so, they need to get guys back playing the positions that they're comfortable with, doing the things that they're comfortable doing, and that then allows them to kind of play defense the way they want to play. You're not getting Bud Dupree back. You're not getting Devin Bush back, but this can still be a dominant defense. It's still the best pass rushing defense in the AFC. It's the best pass rushing defense in the league, but it's the best pass rushing defense that's going to be in the postseason in the AFC this year. Kansas City's not rushing the passer well this year.
Nope.
The Ravens aren't rushing the passer well this year. Cleveland, Tennessee, they're not rushing.
We saw that Monday night.
Yeah, they're not rushing the pass rush. Tennessee has no pass rush.
Mm-hmm.
So if you start looking at it, the second best pass rush and the second best defense that's going to be in the AFC playoffs is in Indianapolis, and they haven't played as well in recent weeks. So, that's what gives the Steelers a chance here is that defense. They need to get the offense figured out, but getting that defense back to playing there's no such thing as a shutdown defense in today's NFL, but playing at a high level is what they need to do here over the next 3 weeks, and getting Joe Hayden back and keeping him on the field is a must.
Yeah, it feels like right now they've been able to hold together the defense. I mean, ultimately, the defense still gave the Steelers a chance to win that game against the Bills, even with the offense throwing a pick six. This was a game where, again, two turnovers in the first half, and this was a team that if the offense just had a decent week, they probably beat the Bills, and we're talking completely different about the Steelers' outlook right now going into these last 3 games. But certainly having Joe Hayden back and having him and Steven Nelson in their normal spots, and Hilton and Sutton in their normal spots, and then Edmonds and Fitzpatrick can do their normal things. That's going to make this pass defense, which still is ranked among the best in the league. I believe they're number 2 or 3 right now in passing yards allowed. They're still, to me, this is still the best defense in football, even with Bud Dupree and Devin Bush out. And you could say the Saints, even though they just got beat up by Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders, but ultimately, I still think, Dale, this team still has a lot of really great talent on the defensive side of the ball. And when Joe Hayden back, it's going to still make them a very dangerous group.
Yeah, and that's what they get. The Steelers are banking on them. I mean, that's the way that they're built. We've said it all along last year that if they just got average quarterback play, they would be a very good team with that defense. Well, the last couple of weeks they've gotten some below average quarterback play. They need to get Ben Roethlisberger back to playing good football again here. He's capable. He showed it all year long. They'll get the offense figured out. And I think a couple of weeks from now, perhaps people will forget about this little bad stretch. Every team in the league has a bad stretch of football.
Yep.
The Kansas City Chiefs have had some bad stretches of football this year. It's not out of the norm. It's really difficult to go out and play well for 16 games in a row. It just doesn't happen. So, you want to be playing your best going into the playoffs. The Steelers have some time to kind of get that back, and we'll see if they can do so.
So, Dale, let's talk about the offensive line, because they have a lot. They're a group that is beat up with injuries. They had to let go of Stefan Wisniewski in the middle of the year after he was on IR and he was coming back. But then they thought, hey, we need to get more backup on the linebackers. Now he's back with the Chiefs. Pouncey just came back this last week, but J.C. Hassenauer had to fill in at left guard because Filer and Dotson went down. And now Filer's on the temporary injured reserve. What is this?
Temporary? He's done for the year.
Oh, he's done for the year. Yeah. Okay. I saw that there was something, but it wasn't a torn pec.
He won't be back though. That's a several week. I mean, he has essentially the same injury as Wisniewski. I don't think you see Matt Filer again this season.
Oh, well, well, then there you have it right there. Matt Filer's done. Where does this offensive line go from here, Dale? Because that means you got Dotson starting at left guard if he's healthy, because he was also injured in this game. And this is an offensive line that hasn't really played well through a lot of this season, as far as generating push off the run block and what we've seen from them especially the past month or so.
Yeah, and let's face it. It's never been a great run blocking line. The people who are pining, oh well, they need to get Mike Munchak back, and that would fix this line. Come on, people, get real. The last year that Mike Munchak was here, they averaged 90 yards rushing per game. Mm-hmm. They're not built to run the football. They're not a strong run blocking line. They've never have been. They're built to protect Ben Roethlisberger. And I get all the respect in the world for Mike Munchak. Great guy, love him, good football coach. But he wasn't fixing. You're not fixing this. This line is what it is. But again, it goes back to what we talked about in the previous segment. If you're going to work that short passing game, and you're going to bring force the defense to bring everybody up into the box, I don't care what offensive line you have, you're going to struggle to run the football against that. They also don't have dynamic running backs. They just don't. They don't have anybody that can make somebody miss in the hole and suddenly turn a 2-yard gain into a 10-yard gain. Dalvin Cook's not walking through that door.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. The running game they don't need to go out and run for 150 yards a game, but they need to be able to run the football when they want to run the football. And quite frankly, the offensive line hasn't been great this year in terms of the run blocking. It's been even, below what you would expect for this group. I expected them to be an average run blocking unit. They haven't been that, but again, they were that early in the season before they changed the way they were defending them. That's it's simple as that. If the Steelers start hitting some of these downfield passes, it backs the safeties off, and all of a sudden they'll be able to run the football. It's that simple. Football is really, it's not that complicated.
No, I agree. And again, Dale's not saying the 40-yard bombs down the sideline, even just like the 15, 20, 30, just when you're
Correct.
pushing it down that far, that's when those middle linebackers and the safeties who play the middle of the field who are coming up against the run and coming up against the underneath passes, that's when they're like, crap, I can't, my first step cannot be forward right now because Eric Ebron or Claypool or Juju, someone just dotted us up for 3 straight plays of 18, 20 yards, and now we're hurting. And I think you see that on tape, and I did it in my Carter's classroom. There was a play where Ben Roethlisberger, they had an underneath pass where I think it was Deontay Johnson underneath and Eric Ebron over top of him. Both were in the middle of the field. They 3 defenders went to Johnson. Ebron was standing there wide open. Ben didn't even see him.
Yeah,
And
and I mean, people want to blame Randy Fichtner for this, and I get it, but he's not the one throwing the football. It's not like the only routes that they run are short things.
right.
They run guys deep. They run guys on those intermediate routes, but the quarterback has to trust that he can make that throw.
And the fact is that lately Ben, either he hasn't trusted it or he just hasn't seen it and he's been out of his funk. That's going to come down to a lot of it. And I think with the offensive line, with they've played, you got to keep protecting him as best as you can so that he can get out of his funk. And that's where this offensive line, I think, can put together its best performance to help the Steelers get back into their gear. Because, I've seen a lot of people the last 3 weeks, Dale, be like, oh, man, can you imagine what it'd be like to have a creative offense? Or, oh, man, can you imagine what it'd be like to score points? This team was scoring points at an extremely high clip. They were the number 4 offense before they played Washington, right? Like, this is, and even now, I think they're still in the top 10 or something like that. Like, come on. Like, before the season, I was saying if this offense ranks middling, if it's like 16, 15, 14, 13, this is going to be a good team. And they've been top 10 all year. And yes, they've struggled lately, but they can fix this thing. I don't get the sense of hopelessness for this offense.
No, nor do I. But that's why the fans are. I get it. Fans are fans, and they're gonna sometimes look at things. What have you done for me lately? Team's 11-2. I don't think many people would have predicted 11-2 before the season started. They need to turn some things around. They got some things they have to fix, but they still have time to get them fixed. And again, having a full week of practice, a regularly scheduled week of practice, will go a long way towards doing that.